You're a nice guy. You gave her everything. You were there. You showed up. You were her rock. And when she asked you to jump, you'd say, how high? And not because you're weak, but because you love her. You wanted to show up for her. You wanted to be her rock. You wanted to ask her how high when she said jump. And in your mind, you thought, if I act this way for her, she's going to reciprocate and she's going to do these same things for me as well. And that's how you thought you built a strong relationship. But here's where things really start to break down. From your perspective, you think you're being a great partner. But from her perspective, something very different is actually happening. When you start doing everything for her and you follow her lead and you don't set clear boundaries, she doesn't see a great guy. She starts to see a man who's following her around doing her bidding. And this is where a lot of men get it wrong because they think they're falling into the category of Mr. Nice Guy. But that's not actually how she's experiencing you. Women don't sit there and think to themselves, he's just too nice. I can't be with a guy like that. That thought doesn't go through her mind because being nice isn't the problem. What you're actually being is meek. And meekness is very different. Meek means that you're not asserting yourself. You're not standing in your own perspective. You're not showing her that your thoughts, your needs, your opinions actually matter. And whether you realize it or not, that's actually getting interpreted by her as weakness. Women like nice. What women don't like and have absolutely no respect for is weakness. Now, here's the shift that you really have to understand. Women are attracted to strength, and not just physical strength, emotional strength. We want a man who can hear us, who can make us feel seen, who can validate us, but not a man who's going to agree with every single thing we say and roll over just to keep the peace. Because when you do that and when you act like that, you're not showing her strength. You're showing her that you're afraid to stand up for yourself. You're showing her that you're afraid to stand on your own. When you fall into this nice guy pattern, meekness, what you're actually doing is slowly removing yourself from the relationship. Your voice disappears, your standards disappear, your own boundaries disappear. Your identity starts to shift into what you think she wants. And I know that you're not doing this to be weak. You're doing it because you're trying to do right by her. You love her and you want to take care of her and you think this is the way to do it. I remember when I was 19 years old, I was dating this guy who was bending over backwards for me. And it was great for the first 3 months. And I remember when I first started dating him and he met my dad turned to me and he said, "This is not going to last." And I thought, well, Dad, you just think that because we're young and blah, blah. And my dad said, no, it has nothing to do with being young. It has to do with the fact that the guy has no backbone. He's doing every single thing that you say, and you're going to get bored of that and tired of that eventually. And I'm like, no, I'm not. This is great. This is fantastic. But you know what? My dad was absolutely right. After 3 months, I was over it. And not because he wasn't a great guy. He was a great guy, but he was too meek. He didn't have an opinion. He rolled over on every little thing I said, and it became unattractive to me. And most women right now don't realize it themselves. They don't realize at the time when they're fighting, they're arguing, and you're rolling over, they think that they've won and they think that they're happy. But in the long run, it becomes very unattractive to them. And that's why even in my own relationship, my husband tells me no. He stands up to me. He makes sure his own opinions are heard. And I have great respect for him. And we have a very loving and intimate relationship because we both respect the other person's point of view and perspective. And that's what's really important for you guys to realize and to understand clearly is you can't roll over and you can't be so scared of her leaving you that you decide to just roll over and not stand up for yourself. Because the reality is most of this is coming from you being scared that if you stand up for yourself or you speak your mind, that she's going to view you as, oh, I can't be with this guy. He's staying up for himself, and that she's going to break up with you and she's going to end the relationship. But you cannot build your behavior out of fear, because if a woman leaves you because you stood up for yourself, good riddance. Good riddance. That's not a woman that you should be in a relationship with in the first place. A strong woman might not love it in the moment. She might push back. She might even get upset. But over time, she respects it, because now she's with a man who can't be molded, who can't be shaped, who can't be controlled. And that's what makes her feel that you're strong. And that strength is what creates attraction. Now, here's where this really starts to hurt you, because when you stay in that nice guy pattern, you slowly are allowing yourself to be molded into a version of yourself that you think will make her happy. And at first, it seems to work because she seems less angry, there's more peace in the relationship, there's less tension, things are smoother. But over time, she stops viewing you as the man that she was attracted to. Because the version of you that she respected, the man that she fell in love with, who she felt was a partner, has now been replaced with a guy who's adapted to her and who follows her around aimlessly like a little lost puppy dog, rather than a man who she views as a partner. And that's when attraction starts to fade. Has this happened to you? Leave me a comment and let me know if you're experiencing this. If you used to stand up for yourself and then you started not to because you didn't want to rock the boat, leave me a comment and let me know if you're experiencing this in your own relationship. So let's talk about why this happens for a moment, shall we? And a main reason this happens is because a lot of times when guys start getting into the relationship, most men start to lose confidence in themselves that they're actually able to fulfill her emotional needs. So when they start to lose the confidence in themselves, they start to shut down and they start to adapt into a way that they feel that, hey, if I do all these things for her, you think your confidence will be rebuilt because she'll start to really like it. And in turn, that's going to make you start to feel better about yourself again. So you allow yourself to be shaped and molded because from your perspective, you're thinking, okay, this is what she likes. We're going to be happy. We're going to be good. But from her perspective, she starts to feel that she's with somebody who isn't grounded in himself and that she's now taking the lead in the relationship. And this is where we talk about emotional leadership. Emotional leadership isn't just about controlling your reactions, but it's also about standing up for yourself and being secure in your own wants and needs and desires. Because women want to feel that they're with a man who can hold his ground, a man who feels like a protector. And a protector isn't a man who can just physically protect her. It's a man who knows himself, who's grounded in himself, who's secure in himself, who's secure enough in himself to be able to say something like, I don't like that idea. I think that's wrong. Let me tell you why. I can understand why you're having the idea and I can appreciate it, but let me tell you why I don't agree with it. That's being grounded. That's being secure in yourself. That's a man who's not losing himself in her emotions. It's a man who can hear her, feel her, understand her perspective, but still have a clear view in his own boundaries and his own perspective. A man who doesn't collapse, he doesn't chase, and he doesn't reshape himself every time tension shows up. A man who can handle her emotions without abandoning his own. That's what creates attraction, and that's what an emotional leader looks like. Now, here's where this goes even deeper, because most of you are thinking to yourself, okay, I just have to figure out how to drop the nice guy act. I've got to figure out how to be more alpha and more dominant. But that's not really the issue. In a lot of cases, the reason the nice guy becomes the nice guy is because something that he needs isn't being emotionally fulfilled. And he thinks to himself, well, if I do all of these things for her, she's going to eventually love me how I need to be loved. Because every single one of us, her, you, all of us, we all have a natural way in which we receive love, and we all have a natural way in how we show love. And a lot of times this Mr. Nice Guy develops over a lot of times of you not feeling loved the way that you need to feel loved. So you revert into a habit of being the nice guy because you think that if you're the nice guy and you show up in the nice guy way, that your partner is going to start offering you love the way that you need to receive it. And this is not something that the Nice Guy book talks about or that a lot of people are really talking about. But these reactions that you're having a lot of times are because something inside of you is not being emotionally fulfilled. And you've created a thought in your head that if you're just submissive and you do everything she says, that things are going to be okay and you'll get some kind of love out of it. And that's where my framework really comes in, because I really help guys be able to understand what it is that they were lacking in the relationship and be able to get out of that unhealthy loop of being submissive or rolling over to her, where they can address their own needs and be able to stand up for themselves and be able to say, hey, look, I need this, and it's okay that I need this, because in the long run, she's going to respect it. So if you think that this could be what's going on in your own relationship that's causing it to have issues, or maybe why it dissolved in the first place, you think it's because you're too much of the nice guy and you really want to change, not yourself, but the way she experiences you in the relationship, feel more than welcome to book a free 30-minute consultation with me, and we'll see if you're a right fit for my Love Communication Reset program. And if you're not ready to book a call yet, instead check out my free masterclass, the 5-step system to resetting your love communication style to rebuild your relationship. I hope this video was helpful, guys. If so, hit a like for me and subscribe to the channel for more videos on helping you rebuild your relationship. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and let's really focus on falling back in love.